One, two, three, and four. Count what you have now. Don't count what you don't have. Count what you have now. Don't count what you don't have. Find that you have so much. 頑張りすぎる自分に疲れてふと泣けてきた
Hello, 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 y'all. Welcome, welcome. So excited to be here with y'all today. How are y'all doing? We're at the last day of Global Hack Week, which is sad, I know, but it's been a great week for me. I'm curious how it's been for y'all. Hey, hello, hello, y'all. Welcome. I'm doing well, Shen. Is that? Oh my goodness, I can't read Shem. Oh my goodness, so much fun this week. I'm so glad. This has been, I think, one of my favorite Global Hack Weeks. I'm glad you enjoyed it too. Today, we aren't doing anything particularly technical, but we are going to be having a fun time. We're going to be talking about basically how to take what you've been doing this week and move it forward into the future. Thanks for the compliment on the music. I really like this music. I got it from Ludwig Ogren's stream playlist. Ludwig is a huge streamer, so already tried and tested by someone before me. Hello, hello, hello. So yeah, we're going to be talking about game jams, which are a very specific experience. They're similar to hackathons, but they are very different. Indie game dev, and then creating your own experiences. MLH session is always super. I'm glad you like them. For those of you who have not been to one of my streams before, you'll notice that there is this little exclamation point TTS icon in the corner. That means that text-to-speech is on, so you can use the exclamation point TTS command to say your chat messages out loud using TTS. We also have closed captions on for the stream, so in the bottom bar, you should be able to turn on closed captions with a little CC button. It should be working at least. Let me double check that. Oh no. Give me a sec. It looks like it's on my end, but I don't know if it's on Twitch's.
It's dimmer time.
Hello, hello. Hey, Polar Void. Welcome back. Okay. Great. Closed captions are working. For a moment, I was really afraid that they weren't.
Is that Japanese?
It is.
I think it's working.
This song is Count What You Have Now by Vantage. Love this song. Gonna drop the link in chat for those of you who want it. Also, let me drop the check-in link for y'all. So that's the song, and then let me grab check-in. Hello, hello. Is experiences inspired by Roblox? No, it's not. Is that what Roblox calls their games? Second link that I sent there is the check-in link. Make sure to check in if you haven't already. Get points for your guild, and also if you check into 5 events throughout the week, you get bonus swag. Woot woot, swag. Experiences here is just that game dev as a skill can allow you to create many more things than just games. So experiences, interactive experiences is more the general thing that I'm thinking about. Yes, something about not paying Apple a lot of money. Yeah, that checks out for Roblox. If you're okay with child exploitation, you're probably okay with some rules bending. They don't call them games, they're experiences. Wonderful. Oh, that was not what I meant. I love People Make Games. Heck yeah, People Make Games is wonderful. Yeah, People Make Games, Game Maker's Toolkit, probably two of my favorite YouTube channels of all time. Yeah, so we're starting out just kind of vibing a bit, but really, let me start a poll for y'all. Which do y'all want to talk about first? Game dev tools / resources for the future. We have what is a game jam / how it is different from a hackathon. And then we have tips for making indie games / experiences. Great. Go ahead and vote in chat, y'all, using 1, 2, and 3, typing the number that is next to the option that you want to see so I can see where y'all are at. Oh my goodness. Favorite game of mine. Someone said in YouTube chat. I've talked about this a lot recently, but A Short Hike is probably my favorite game that I've played recently. Oh my goodness. So far, a unanimous 3 out of 3 for 1. Game making tools, resources for the future. I mean, this makes sense. We've been talking about this kind of in every single one of my sessions throughout this week. Okay, 4 out of 4. We'll give it until the poll reaches like 3 minutes to give people
The
time to
answer
vote.
to number 1 better be my future game engine that I may or may not get to writing eventually.
I mean, if it is not currently out there, I'm sorry, but I cannot advertise it. Yeah, so
Being lazy because I was going to go back and make a resource list from this week.
So, okay, that might still be very useful because it's going to be people who aren't just me who also have resources. So, like, I still highly recommend that. Let me check. My mic is yelling at me a little bit that I'm being a little too loud. So I want to make sure really quickly. Does it sound like I'm peaking to y'all?
It exists, but it's so bad ATM even I couldn't use it for a non-demo project.
I mean, that is part of the development process. So that's a big mood. I'm proud of you for even trying to make a game engine. That's a huge thing to try making.
I'll still do that, but this will help a lot. Dimmer has P?
Oh my god. That's... Y'all know what a microphone peaking sounds like. It's like what XQC is constantly sounding like. It's when your microphone is picking up too much of your audio, so it gets all like...
Dimmer will never peak.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I am just a person, y'all. It's very sweet when y'all do this, but I am just a person.
No, it's all good.
Okay, great. Okay, and we got another vote for 1. This seems fairly unanimous here. So I know I said I'd give it until 3 minutes, but I'm just gonna go ahead and stop it right now. Oh, hey, there we go. It just hit 3 minutes. Okay, great. 5 out of 5 votes for resources, which is like what I was expecting, but I figured I'd give y'all a chance to maybe be like, no, we want your like theory and thoughts, Dimmer. Okay. So, oh, also, I'm going to turn on, oh goodness, what just happened? I'm going to turn on channel point rewards for this, because this is not a technical stream, so y'all can make all the sound effects that you want here.
We're gonna get your thoughts either way.
True, you are. Okay. So,
True that.
Good job.
Thank you. I've done nothing so far, but I appreciate it. Okay. Oh no, it's still okay. So it does this where my screen share is stuck on when I
Let's do.
started. There we go. Okay. So, first thing that I just want to talk about here are game engines. And actually, I'm going to switch back to this. Okay, when you're building a game, unless you are being Polar Void and you're being a little bit of a masochist and you want to build everything from scratch, it generally makes sense for you to be using a game engine, which gives you a whole lot of tools and like physics and things like that that have been written for you that you can then utilize in your game. And the big ones are like Unity and Unreal Engine and the one that I'm always talking about, Godot. But I'm gonna back up and I'm gonna say this real loud for y'all. The game engine you use doesn't matter. So, use the tool that you are most comfortable with. And I'm saying this because it is so common, and I have fallen down this trap an infinite number of times, where I am always looking for I'm getting better at it. I'm trying. Like the best tool for the job. Like what would be best for me. But really, all game engines to a certain extent are trying to do the same thing, which is to make it slightly easier for you to build a game. So, my goodness, my hair, I'm like growing it out and I love that it's getting longer, but it's like just like a slightly weird length right now. Okay. So, game engines are just designed to make it easier for you to build a game. So, it is a tool like any other. And you can use whatever you feel comfortable with and whatever is interesting to you and whatever like sparks your joy, and it will work. I'm going to talk about them. We're going to go over them again. We've talked about them briefly before, but I want to go over them. I want to get y'all's thoughts, your experiences. Top game engines. We're going to look at a list on Google. Ew, this is such a bad list. Okay. Etch-a-Sketch brings me joy. Time to make a game on it. I mean, I think that would be an amazing game. Imagine a platformer where the mechanics are based on Etch-a-Sketch. I'm looking for like a good list. Okay. Let's just look at Google here. List of game engines here. We have Unity, we have Godot, my personal favorite, Game Maker, Amazon Lumberyard, CryEngine, which Polar Void, I believe you were talking about that last time. Unreal Engine is not on here for some reason, which is wild to me that's okay. But we can see a whole lot of these.
Bad Lion.
Babylon. Oh, right down here. So
Rip Lumberyard and CryEngine.
there's like a whole bunch of game engines that exist, and I'm going to open up the ones that I think are worth talking about in a new tab. Oh, Amazon. Interesting. Okay. Lumberyard and CryEngine I'm not going to talk about because I don't know too much about it. Okay, so as we can basically see, there's a whole heck of a lot of them, and it's still missed Unreal Engine, which is wild to me. So I have all of these open, and we can take a look at them. And, you know, the thing that we're going to start seeing is that a lot of them are very similar, and they're kind of like grouped here. We have Unity.
Isn't Pygame just SDL plus a few nice utils?
So we'll talk about that in a bit. We have Unity, Unreal, and Godot, which I've lumped together as the first three that I'm going to put under like this is like the Swiss Army knife category of like you can use these to basically make anything. And they'll each have their own strengths and weaknesses, but can make a lot of things. Then we have Game Maker, and then there's also RPG Maker that I'm putting together, where these are, I would call them opinionated. where these are tools that will help you make your game, but they are looking for you to create a specific type of game. Game Maker is specifically 2D, as you can see here, and it is slightly less opinionated. RPG Maker, as the name might suggest, it is just for RPGs. But this is not a bad thing. I'm again going to switch to my just talking screen. I thought for the life of me when I was first learning about game dev that using a tool like RPG Maker was like cheating or stupid or boring because it was opinionated. It was designed for you to create RPGs, traditionally more JRPG style games. And I was like, that's bad. But no, it's not. It really isn't. There is no such thing as a bad game engine. And specifically, if you are looking to just create an RPG, RPG Maker can be fucking incredible. And there's some like incredible games that are made in RPG Maker. I believe Omori. I'm gonna double check this. What was it developed with? Yes, it was made with RPG Maker. Wait. Wait. I'm pausing everything here. Almighty Draken. Did you just act? Wait. Almighty Draken has donated $15. Give me one moment.
Donation on an MLH stream?
I know. That's me right now. This is the first time anyone has ever donated or like subscribed or anything on an MLH stream. So I'm just like, I have completely frozen. Almighty Draken, give me a
Is
hot
this
sec.
history?
Okay, account created 6 minutes ago. It's not showing up in my activity feed. I'm like, okay. I feel like something's up here. Almighty Draken. This is why I'm pausing, because this might be a bot. Because I've never seen them in chat, and their account is 6 minutes old.
Good job.
It's Mr. Beast, right?
It can't, but you would expect they would say something. Like, I legitimately don't even know what to do. Wait, okay. How, what, okay. Where do I even check? How do I check this? What? This has never happened before. Almighty Draken, I'm sorry if this is real and I'm like being so skeptical. Howdy hey. Don't worry, it was a prank. How did you do this? What just happened? Because the thing is, I was like, oh, it looks like they just like formatted has donated, but then it's showing up differently in this chat. Like it looks like it's truly being handled differently. Figure it out. Oh my goodness.
Y'all have very different ideas of a prank.
We're now, okay. We're now on a mystery stream. I mean, I was going to try refunding that if it was real. Wait, I will show you. Format codes? So maybe, but it's this part that's confusing me. Because this is not a traditional chat. This is a separate API. Okay. See, but see how different that is? Do you like it? I mean, I don't know if like it's the right word, but it's definitely interesting. I'm now like checking everywhere, trying to figure out. Check it in YouTube. Who you're referring to.
Dimmer can now buy a skyscraper like DRD and build a dimmer base.
Open your eyes.
Okay. So, okay. Let's take a look at this. Welcome to the new stream, which is deconstructing how to fake donate on Twitch. I was wondering, because is it like this? It is. Polar Void, you did get it. Step 1, change the font color. Oh, seriously, that's it? Okay. So my real concern was that my like stream setup was broken, because we can see in we're screen sharing right now, that theoretically, if someone were to gift something, it would look like that. Or wait, if they were to tip, it would look like this. So I was like really confused, like why wasn't that firing? And I was scared that I had like done goofed something. Okay. You need Twitch Turbo to choose non-preset colors. For what? For your name? With the /me command? Which I am going to now see if I can block. Okay. Let's see if I can turn off the /me command here so that this doesn't happen to other streamers. Because I could see... Anyways, bye, nice to meet you. Bye, Almighty Draken, I guess. Thanks for stopping by and teaching us something new about Twitch. Truly. I have a surprise for you. Oh no.
Dimmer, what do you think of the recent Unity drama?
Oh goodness, what's the recent Unity drama? This is why I'm like hesitant to use Unity and why I'm such a huge Godot stan. Unity drama.
Massive layoffs. Again, including Mike Action.
Let's look at the news. Unity news. Ooh. Ooh.
Dimmer.
Bye, Almighty Draken,
Chat
forever. Yeah. Bye. Don't come back.
Please get a yeet sound. That was odd.
Let's, in celebration of that deranged experience, yeah, let's enable a yeet sound. Oh no. That truly was quite odd. Also,
To be honest, I had no idea that was gonna happen.
I mean, I was expecting it. Like, I was not expecting this to be a normal experience. Because again, new account created 6 minutes before this. And then their first interaction being a weird, like, yeah. I mean, I'm disappointed, but not surprised. Okay, I'm trying to find if they're all the same yeet.
OMG, that was scary.
Sorry. I'm gonna turn it down. Let me screen share. I want the yeet from the vine. My goodness. Okay. Which yeet do we want?
Do you know Rust has a yeet keyword?
Oh my goodness. Okay, we're getting off topic, but Rust yeet. Am I the only one who hates this new Reddit user interface? Let's switch to our traditional lo-fi beats.
Every new Reddit UI update makes it worse.
Yeah. What does yeet do? This is the most Rust thing that I've ever seen. Of just like, it's for like typing and do yeet. Someone will need to explain this to me because that makes zero sense.
I think it's kinda like the yield in your Unity coroutines.
We've talked about this. Ah, okay.
You used them, remember?
Yeah, but I wasn't very good at them. I like used them briefly. Okay. Well, in celebration, let's just add the first yeet there was. Actually, can we sort? Okay. Yeet. Oh no!
Try one with a smiley face?
Let me see. We'll need to remove one. Okay, we'll need to remove one to be able to add yeet. I don't think laugh track has been used a lot. I know realistic knocking is super unpopular. No one really likes that one.
Don't you dare take it away, Dimmer.
I'm not going to take away realistic knocking. I don't think yeet is better than any of the ones that we currently have. So I will just say yeet. And we'll get back to our regularly
I
scheduled
have
content.
spent most of my channel points on it. Why can't I see bring out the goose on my end?
So that's currently off for the stream because I'm not going to be sharing my screen for the whole time. Currently, bring out the goose and realistic knocking sound are off for this stream. So we have metal pipe and we have rickroll, but we don't have the other ones right now. I don't like having bring out the goose on when I'm just like talking a lot because then you won't actually see the goose. So for like a stream where I'm always screen sharing, it works better. Anyway, before we got way distracted, give me a sec to like ground myself, get back on the track of things.
Maybe for the Rickroll challenge from last GHW? Imagine if someone actually donates money now, lol. I think they'd break Dimmer for real. Yeah, that was not cool of that person. At least they were yeeted away.
Okay. We're back, y'all. Oh, it just took me a sec to like come back to where we were, which was we were talking about the thing that won the poll was like game dev tools and resources.
How can we help Dimmer feel better?
I mean, y'all are good. You don't need to like do a bunch of work to make me feel better. It's less that I feel bad and more that I just got like really distracted all of a sudden. Because we were talking about game engines, and I was talking about how we have these three that are like universal game engines where you can do a whole heck of a lot of things. Then we have our more opinionated game engines. Hey, Super Sam Dam, thanks for the follow. RPG Maker is what I was talking about, where it's like super opinionated. It wants you to create an RPG, specifically like a JRPG style game. But Omori, which is a game that I believe is critically acclaimed. It is a very, very good game that people
on multiple
really like.
dictionaries.
Let's see. Was it nominated for awards? No, interesting. Okay. But a very, very good, oh goodness, what am I trying to say? A very good RPG. It was built in RPG Maker. So even this game engine that people kind of view as restrictive as like opinionated can work. Then we have Pico 8, which there have been some wonderful streams about, and if you're really interested in that, check out those streams. They're going to be recordings are all up on the YouTube channel. Pico 8 is a simulation of a like old game engine or of an old game console that like had a limited color palette. And it like, here we go. Pico 8 is a fantasy console for making, sharing, and playing tiny games and other computer programs. It feels like a regular console, but runs on Windows, Mac, Linux. When you turn it on, the machine greets you with
Those
a command
screens
line
were really cool.
and a
It's
suite
harder
of
than I thought.
of cartridge creation tools and an online cartridge browser called Splore. The whole point of this is it adds a bunch of restrictions and difficulty, where like Unity, the whole point of it is to give you like infinite creative freedom to do whatever you want. Pico 8 is designed to be like, okay, what if you had like very limited space to work with and a limited color palette and limited tools, just like people who are creating games for like the NES. Then the last three that I have on here, Twine, Pygame. Pygame's actually slightly different. We're actually not going to necessarily talk about Pygame. I wouldn't if
Amy
you
made a cool little game that looked very fun.
Oh my goodness. I saw that those streams existed. I wasn't able to make it to them. So I'm glad it looked very fun. I'm not going to talk about Pygame because Pygame is again fairly low level. But Renpy, and Twine are great examples of again like these opinionated game makers that are specifically designed. Twine is an example. I need to use Twine for a school project, and it is really interesting. I'll be honest, y'all. I'm struggling a little bit to come back after this. I used this software called Alice in school. Oh my goodness, wait, I've heard of Alice.
Kev was working on a story game and mentioned your storytelling mastery.
Mine? Who are you talking about? How can we integrate Renpy in a mobile app? I mean,
Yes, you.
thanks, Kev, I guess. I'm trying to figure out where that's coming from. Huh. Okay, thanks, Kev. Apparently you can build it into iOS and Android apps. I don't think you need to like necessarily do anything big for it. It's documentation, building. Let's look at iOS. Renpy supports creating iOS apps that run on iPhone. iOS apps can only create. Okay, wait. So it has iOS,
He
but
said you're really good at storytelling in games. It was a compliment.
I'm like, thank you for the compliment. I'm just like, I've talked about it, but I haven't necessarily created games that have like deep storytelling to them. I've created like a couple games for like a couple game jams that were like fairly basic and mechanics oriented. But yeah, for Renpy, I think you just build it. Like in your build process, you can just follow this documentation and it'll build out an Android or an iOS app for you. So you don't necessarily need to integrate it into a mobile app. Oh, but what I was trying to say here is these two are like specifically designed for narrative oriented, like visual novel type games. Doki Doki Literature Club is a great example of a game that was made with Renpy, and Twine is super great for like learning how to tell stories in games without necessarily needing to get into the weeds. It isn't super powerful. Don't think of it as like an entire game engine, but more as like things like Twine allow you to map out an interactive story where the user can make choices and have variables and things like that. And Renpy is designed for visual novels. So more tools. Alice, I had never actually heard of, but like I'd like heard of it, but I'd never seen it. I will definitely look at this more because this looks very interesting. Who made Alice? Oh, it is block based. Okay. Research. Okay. Yes.
Like music, I'm stuck in the 80s with the games that I still love to play.
Oh my goodness. But that is totally valid and a big mood. Play the games that you enjoy. I know about this because I grew up on Scratch, which was from MIT, and Alice is from Carnegie Mellon. So I think that was where I heard of Alice as like a Scratch competitor. Which also, let's talk about Scratch briefly. Scratch gets a very specific, like, I don't know. It has a very specific, like, people think it is one
Scratch is
specific
off.
thing because it is block based. Let's.
There are 8-year-old kids who make entire RPGs in it.
I
Mad
know.
respect.
This is.
I was
Here we go.
making a Frogger game in Scratch earlier today.
Oh my goodness. Yes. I love Scratch so much. Scratch is where I got my start in programming. And it was just like wonderful and very fun. Don't doubt Scratch. And Griff Patch is a wonderful, is a wonderful Scratch creator.
Okay, but the conditionals annoy me to death.
Yeah, so Scratch is not necessarily like perfect, but Griff Patch is like it. He shows that you can do a whole heck of a lot with Scratch, even though it is a little bit simple to start with. So I'm adding Scratch onto here if you're like just wanting to get interested in development for the first time and or game development for the first time. It can be an interesting place to start. But if you have development experience already, I wouldn't necessarily say it's the best place to start, but definitely don't sell it short. A lot of my like school projects, I would make little Scratch games for it, and my friends loved it. Okay. So I've kind of gone over the basics, and I'm going to close out the ones that I don't want to talk about more. Game Maker I don't know a whole lot about, but people really like it for 2D games, but I believe... What's the pricing on it? Pricing... Yeah, okay. If you make a game in Game Maker, you need to pay them to be able to actually export it.
I like the retro feel of Scratch, like Pico 80s.
I mean, yeah. That's actually a big mood. Scratch does have a very specific vibe. Oh, but Game Maker, some people really like it. This is the main reason that I don't, is because it allows you to make things in it, but then not actually export them outside
I
of their
used
specific
Gamma in the
exporter.
past. It was really good at the time, but I'd suggest Godot for anyone looking to do similar 2D stuff now.
So that is now where we're going. Of taking a look at the big three, which is the big two that everyone will agree on, is Unity and Unreal Engine. I will always stick Godot in there because I am a huge Godot evangelist, because it is an open source game engine that is like very, very good for what it is. Yeah. So it gives you the option of C# if that's what you're more comfortable with, or GD script, which is more like Python, which is how I got started with Godot.
It's also tiny.
Oh, true. I didn't even think about that. It would probably run so much more easily on your system. Oh, yeah. Unity's so big. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Whoa. Okay. I think I have just decided. Okay. Any future game dev stuff that I'm doing, I'm definitely doing with Godot on stream. Because Unity was like cool to introduce it, but the more I think about this, I'm not going to be using the like advanced features of Unity, and Godot is just so much nicer because again, open source,
I just
both
heard
2D
of
and
Blender
3D.
today. Where does that fit in with game dev?
Okay, so if you Google it, this is why I didn't pull up like a list on a website, because a bunch of websites were showing Blender for game dev, which I think is technically possible. Weird. Blender is a 3D asset creation and management software. That's not the best description. Basically, it allows you to create things in 3D. And if you want to be a 3D artist, it has a whole lot of things with like simulation and rendering and like glass and honey and like all of these weird, cool little things, hair. Blender is amazing. But if you are specifically...
On an aside, mind sharing some Godot-related channels later. I only follow a few mostly tech artists.
We'll talk about this. oh, Blender has all of these awesome 3D art features. And if you want to be a like 3D artist, or if you're looking to model for like create models for 3D games, create characters for 3D games, do 3D animation, Blender, 1000%. If you're looking to do 2D animation, Blender has a lot of great tools for that as well. Blender is an industry standard for so many things, but it is not directly related to game design in any way. So if you're specifically interested in games and not necessarily creating the art and assets for games, Blender isn't necessarily where to start, but I would strongly believe that it's always like a good skill to have in the back of your tool belt as like a general understanding of Blender, because Blender allows you to do like anything AR, VR, game dev, like
Rip
anything
Blender
to do with
game
3D.
engine.
So like that's the thing. Like I think it exists in some capacity, but not a huge capacity and not a great capacity. That's Blender. Been trying to learn Godot this week and it's awesome. Yeah. So Godot was my
No,
first.
they got rid of it in 2.7, I think.
Oh, rip. Okay. I know. I thought I knew of something that someone was doing. Anyway, don't use Blender to make a game. Godot was my first game engine. I learned to program on Scratch. I created my first games on Scratch. Then I switched to like Python and things like that, web dev, blah, blah, blah. And then I used Godot to make my first couple games. Then we were learning Unity together because again, Unity is very good for being, I guess an accurate comparison would be like the Adobe suite of game dev, where like it's like an industry standard that a ton of games and people use. It is like a skill that you can put on your resume and people will understand what it is, but also it can be clunky and big and possibly a little bit like of a big learning curve, that sort of thing. It does have the one advantage over Godot in that it has been around longer and has been popular for longer. So if you're looking to do a specific thing, chances are there's more likely someone has done it specifically with Unity than with Godot. But Godot has had the friendliest community that I've ever interacted with on the internet with regards to like learning a new skill. Unreal Engine, we've talked about this before, I think 2 days ago. Unreal Engine is great if you are looking to create 3D games. It is not great for 2D games, and it is great if you're looking for photorealism. The one caveat there is it doesn't have to be, because Fortnite, a very popular game, is made in Unreal Engine, and Fortnite does not have a photorealistic art style, but they are putting in a ton of development work into making Unreal Engine very, very good for hyper realistic 3D anything through Nanite, which allows you to have geometry like this in your game and for it to still be performant, where it is like this hyper level of detail, but it has dynamic LOD level of detail scaling that is like very intelligent and just like wonderful tech. And Unreal Engine also has metahumans, which is, if you want to create realistic 3D humans, metahumans is the place to go for that. So there's like some really interesting stuff there, but I personally, I was like really into it when I was younger because it had a graphical programming interface. So I was like, oh, I'll switch to this from scratch because I won't need to learn C#. But it was a little bit glitchy. And again, it is really looking for you to create a 3D game. And
no way. That's why I stick to Pac-Man.
I mean, to a certain extent, yeah. I think especially if you are looking to make your own game, this gets a little bit more into the theory and my thoughts. If you're looking to make a game, choosing to make it 3D needs to be a very deliberate choice. Because you can still tell the stories that you want to tell. You can still have the experiences that you want people to have in 2D most of the time. And 3D games are really cool and really awesome. And like, they're definitely a very specific experience, but also they take a lot more dev work. So that's Unreal Engine, that's Unity, and here we have Godot, which is going to be, yeah, what I just like really highly recommend. Those are specific tools. Now for resources, this is where Itch GHW.io has a ton of great game assets on their store. So we can go search for audio. And hey, oh look, free looping music bundles, free sound effects. If you're looking for free game assets, Itch is like the best place that I found that has them all in one place with like great searching. Let's look at animation. Wait. I'm tagging for multiple things. How do I remove a tag? View all tag.
It might be an unpopular opinion, but I feel like many Unreal games have the same look, kinda like what Unity used to be criticized for.
I mean, I could definitely see that. Because, so, that is, as someone who comes from like a technical development background and is now trying to get more into the creative side of game dev and all of these different more creative endeavors, I consistently find myself falling in this trap of like, now that I know how to do something from a technical perspective, I like know all that there is to it. Because when you're learning to code, like you're learning the technical aspects. And once you learn the technical aspects of like making something look realistic, it can be very easy to take that as a shortcut to remove your like use of art and design in your game. Of like, oh, well, I can just make it photorealistic, and then I don't actually need to design anything.
The 3D games bordering on VR are a little scary to me. VR more than anything.
Oh, there was a recent game that was based on the game is based on police body cam footage that people were like legitimately shocked.
Why is code way easier than art?
That's where you get into some really interesting like personal things where some people find code much easier than art. Myself, one of them, but I have friends who are art students who find even the idea of coding to be like an existential threat. Whereas I have felt at times the idea of drawing a line an existential threat. So it's partly the way that you were socialized, partly the way your brain works. I mean, I had a big conversation about this at like the very beginning of AI art, where I love generative art. Generative art meaning where someone codes a system that creates art, not like training an AI, but being like, what if lines combine together in this way, and colors and shapes, and like kind of more abstract generative art. And I was trying to argue that code could be art, and this person was like, that doesn't exist. And I guess the way that I would liken it would be learning to code is like learning to weld, where like welding is a very specific skill that can be used to like build a car, but it also can be used to like weld together a bunch of like keys from your like ex-roommates to like make a sculpture of a crying face to show like how sad you are. And it can be used for multiple things. And saying that someone is a welder doesn't necessarily say that they're an artist, but someone who is a welder can also be an artist. That's the way that I think about code. Because if I look at some of like my hackathon projects, I wouldn't say that they're art.
Code is art.
I don't think code inherently is art. There's an interesting talk called Art of Code. I believe. Yes, I have had this on my like to watch list for so long. I haven't actually watched it. I don't believe that all code is art, but I believe that code can be used for art. Like when I did web dev, I wouldn't call
statement. Code can be art is more accurate.
Yes. When I did web dev, I wouldn't call my code art. I wouldn't call my websites art, but definitely can be used for that. Yes. So itch for assets. And then another thing that you can just do is like game jam assets.
Appendamart.
Open game art. Okay.
Hey, which game engine would you recommend if I want to primarily work with sound? Open game art OMG.
Oh my goodness, I've been on this website before, but I found it way too overwhelming to actually find anything useful, hence itch, which I found the tagging to be a lot easier to use. But if you can learn and use opengameart.org, all the more power to you. Which game engine would you recommend if I want to work primarily with sound? So
That's an audio engine.
yes. But that is...
I think both Unity and Unreal use it.
Okay. I know that I've seen games with their logo consistently.
Does anyone remember Bink like from the old PlayStation era?
I do not. Unity audio engine.
Don't you have to incorporate the sound into the game? I'm not sure if I'm asking that the correct way.
So I guess what I'm thinking about is if you're looking to work primarily with audio, they're like, okay, so I guess there's like two ways of thinking about this. There's there's the type of person who is the like sound effect engineer, who like is creating the files to be used in games. And then there's the person who's implementing them into the game. And I don't think necessarily just like using a generic game engine is the best. If you want to create a game that is based mostly around sound, I think this is again where like choosing a game engine and running with it would be a good piece of advice to start with. But if you're looking to like learn ooh, okay. Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine is looking a lot better right here than audio in terms of, again, if you're looking to not necessarily be writing all of this code.
Unreal Engine has some cool audio node stuff.
Yeah, that's, looking at this, I would say start with Unreal Engine and go from there. The other thing for assets is just searching Game Jam in front of whatever you're looking for is incredibly helpful, because Game Jams, it's expected that you aren't going to be creating all of your own assets.
Remember that game with the blobs that you could make music with? Like that, sort of.
I don't remember that game. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm dropping this in chat for y'all, because this is exactly why I was recommending when you're looking for an asset, add the word Game Jam in it. Because unless you're trying to create some like massive like trying to like sell a AAA game, Game Jam assets are exactly what you're looking for, because Game Jams are designed for you to have 24 to 36 hours to maybe a week to create a game. Ludum Dare is the like longest running game jam, but I don't believe it's the most popular anymore. I believe Game Maker's Toolkit Game Jam has like way overpassed it, but it gives you 48 hours. Game Maker's Toolkit gives you a week, I think. Oh no, just 48 hours. Okay. So 48 hours to create a game. Do not try to
do every single thing yourself at first if you want to end up making the game.
So this is exactly the idea of like, if you're looking for an asset, search Game Jam, because Game Jams give you a condensed period of time where it is not expected that you're making all the assets. It is expected that you are combining them in an interesting way, focusing on like, if you're trying to tell a specific story, if you're trying to have a specific experience, if you're trying to implement a specific mechanic, finding something small as a minimum viable product of like what would be fun or interesting on its own without great art. As like a box moving around on a screen, Mario would still be interesting without the art. And taking like that idea and building on it. So if you're looking for assets and resources, anything that is within the concept of a game jam.
Silly blob opera https
Oh my goodness.
www.krazagames.com/game.
This looks
/blog
deranged. in the most wonderful way. Also, excuse me, it should have said link. This was like a big thing that we spent a lot of time working on the code for. Why didn't that work? I'm so sad. Oh my goodness. I'm going to collapse into a puddle. But I did it anyway and learned a ton in the process, but my last finished game was a decade ago. I mean, so one, I did not break the link, but I don't promise that my code was even good in the first
I'm an
place.
accessibility dev.
That's very funny. And then also, my last finished game was a decade ago is such a mood. Oh, it's so hard to make a game. It is so hard. Yeah. So yeah, these are my like general tips for assets and tools. Use the tools that you have that you feel comfortable with, and when all else fails, turn to Game Jammers. They're a great community with so many resources. And also, use Godot. With that, for those of you who've seen my streams this week, I've been trying to make sure that we take breaks. So we're about halfway into the stream, so I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. And we're going to come back, take this time to get some water, make sure you stretch, stand up, move your body, take care of yourself. We'll be right back.
Also, sample prototyping assets can get you very far at the start. This blob opera is fun. It is, isn't it? I forgot about until just now. The physics simulation of the body is nice AF. Link, 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 link.
Are you?
Can we buffer overflow Dimmer's scripts?
I don't know what y'all mean by that, and I don't know if I want to. So, I'm trying to now talk to y'all about resources that I want y'all to have moving forward. And Extra Credits is an amazing channel that has talked about game design. It is what got me into game design, but it's a little nuked. It's been around for years and years and years and years. And they had this like wonderful playlist of like how to get into game design and the different parts of the game design industry and all these different things. But it only has 12 videos up.
This is the new channel.
Where is the old channel then? Like, that's all that I want is the old Extra Credits channel.
The old one has all of them.
But where? Link?
I think it's Extra Credits history.
Seriously? Oh my goodness, that makes sense. Extra History was doing really well. Yeah, okay. It's fascinating to me that Extra History has like overshadowed Extra Credits, which originally was just about game design. And their Extra History content is wonderful. Highly recommend. But it also is why I stopped watching, because
They have a playlist though with all the game stuff.
yes. So, playlists. Here we go, making your first game. This is really, this playlist right here, yeah, 8 years ago, was foundational in my understanding of what game design is, was, and can be. Especially minimum viable rules, practical rules setting, like all of these. Oh, really good. Highly recommend Extra Credits. And now that they've split off Extra Credits and Extra History, I highly recommend following the new Extra Credits channel, because they have had some of the best like conversations around what game design is that I have seen in or like ever heard. So Extra Credits, New Frame
Extra
Plus,
Credits got me thinking about the ethics and all in game design,
Yep.
which was cool.
Game Maker's Toolkit. So Extra Credits, New Frame Plus is a spin-off by the original creator of Extra Credits that talks specifically about animation, and it is wonderful and incredible, and I highly recommend. Game Maker's Toolkit is iconic. It's all like Game Maker's Toolkit is a deep dive into game design, level design, and game
I
production.
have been tuning in on and off while studying for finals. I am curious what you recommend if we have no game dev experience and have no idea if it is something we'd like. Any good small starts to test the waters?
That playlist that I was just on. Where is it? I'm going to drop the link in chat to make sure y'all have it. Here we go. Okay. Here, if you scroll down to the bottom of the playlist, you'll get all of these. But making your first game, this walks you through what that process looks like. But really the question is, again, what is that minimum viable product? So like they break down Mario's a cute, like you can break it down to a square moving around on a screen and jumping between platforms. You don't need Goombas, you don't need death, you don't need health, you don't need assets, you don't need anything. Like you can really simplify down the concept of what a game is. And also, in my opinion, when you're creating your first game, rely pretty heavily on tropes. So if you're trying to create a platformer, like think about how traditional platformers work and then add your twist onto it.
Can we make a Discord thread or something for these?
Yeah, let's actually. There's a thing that we were on, game jam assets. Here we go. Okay. In Games Week. Let's open up a new thread. Hey, this is the thread of links I'm talking about
Have you
right
done
now
any
on
shader stuff?
stream. I have
Thank
not.
you so much for all the resources.
Oh my goodness, it is literally my pleasure. Right now on stream, these are all resources that are for you to keep
It is
doing
very, very, very fun. Highly recommended.
great resources for you to keep learning about game dev after this week. And let's start a thread. Great thread. Great. The master list is the first one, which is Jammer resources, and then making your first game. Again, highly recommend. This gave me like my overview of like where to even start and where to even think. And then we have extra credits, the channel. But I actually really think Game Maker's
Are you
Toolkit.
looking to learn more about video game
Oh,
design,
goodness, where's that
hear
coming
about the
from?
industry's latest and greatest stories, or find out exactly what
Okay. Game Maker's Toolkit, playlists. We have Game Design 101, and we have Developing. Game Design 101, I think, is really good. And then definitely Developing is wonderful, because does this person who's like analyzed games for so long actually trying to make games for himself. Those are all great. Let me see. I'm looking to see if there are any. Okay.
GDC?
I mean, yeah, let's do it. I don't know how good the...
I really enjoy game theory but am not a game dev or a wannabe game dev. However, I want to learn to develop some games to reinforce my understanding of game theory.
I mean, that is... I like really struggle to play video games, but I love the theory behind them. GDC is the Game Developers Conference or Game Development Conference. I believe developers. And I believe that is all of their like talks, like a showcase of talks. New Frame Plus is specifically animation. Let's grab Game Maker's Toolkit. Great.
Adam Millard?
Definitely we want people make games. I don't know who Adam Millard is. Let's take a look.
Danny LeMayo.
I don't know what that one means. Those are definitely the channels that I recommend for getting started as like community. Oh, let me drop the link for Godot as well.
The Milk Dude, Carlson Guy.
At this point, you're just saying names. I don't recognize any of these, but y'all in chat. I don't even know if these are all referring to the same person. Like, Should I look up these on YouTube? Also, I follow a ton of channels on game dev. So I know like the top channels. I don't know a lot of the small ones, but I do want to really quickly, devlogs are making like a huge like surge on YouTube right now. And there are tons of people making game devlogs on making new games. So you can probably just search devlog on YouTube as well to see some people making some interesting things. But those are the channels that I feel comfortable recommending based on my knowledge. What else? Yeah, I think those playlists, again, specifically the making your first game, any Godot ones. So I don't know any Godot channels off the top of my head. I only follow Fursa for something. I'm going to drop a link.
I forget the name, but there is a guy making a fishing type game. He does like 2-week to monthly updates. Pretty cool.
Oh, that reminds
Godot.
me. Okay, so I'm going to drop a link about learning Godot. And then there is Artificial. Let me find. There's one specific person that I'm looking for, but I can't find them. Ugh, God, I hate everything that has been changing. YouTube's UI has been changing as well, which is super annoying. He like just released a video today. Okay.
DevDuck, I think.
Just dropped another link in the Discord chat that is for Artificial. That is this person who creates some of the most polished looking, like,
Making an indie game called Dolphin.
oh my goodness. There's so many cool indie games out there and so many good indie devs. It makes me so happy to talk about this with y'all and hear all the people that you're following that I've never even heard of. But Artificial, highly, highly recommend some like really good devlogs
His editor
about
was
his
insane.
game, Astortion. Polar Void, if you're talking about Artificial, yes. He created his own, like, he calls it Motion Canvas, his own video editor. Yeah. Those are the people that I've learned from. And again, I could like talk to you about like basically restating again some of those playlists, but I think it's good for you to hear it from the people who have actual like game dev experience about again like where to start. Like again, that playlist by Extra Credits on making your first game basics. Oh, wonderful, because it breaks down like how to set expectations for yourself on like how to set up a project that you can learn from but that won't overwhelm you. That being said, that covers most of the things that I was thinking about right now. Freya Holmer for vectors and math in general. Ooh, I'm going to take a look at this. Because yes. One thing is game dev does generally take more math than like web dev. Oh, this is wonderful. Yes, I'm going to drop this link. And I'm also going to subscribe to watch a bunch of these later because these look truly just like wonderful. Okay. So that has covered most of the things that I was looking for. And I am still a little bit, the stream didn't start on the best foot. But that covered like the things that I wanted. Do y'all have any questions for me? Because again, I'm not like the most experienced, but I have been like doing this for a while, and I've been like,
We're sorry for that, Dimmer.
you don't need to apologize for anything. This is not your fault. I just, it's a little bit hard to keep streaming in the same way that I like to after that. You might want to turn up auto moderation and like add some protections for that in the future. But yeah, that's most of my stuff. If y'all have questions, I'd love to be able
Isn't
to answer
it on
them.
already?
It is, but it's on level 2.
No,
And-
but it changed the vibe for you and us too.
Yeah, the vibes have been off. Let me make sure I drop the check-in link again.
Good job.
Thank you. Okay. Check-in link. Ciao. Make sure you check in. This is my last stream for Global Hack Week Games because today is the last day of Global Hack Week Games. But I will be back next month. What is the theme for next month?
Oh no.
What's the oh no for?
Security.
Is something wrong?
Security.
Oh!
Thanks for the streams. Any sneak peek on some cyber events being hosted?
The theme is security. I low-key
Because it's your last stream, lol.
totally thought that you went, oh no, security. Like, as if... So I've been watching The Diplomat, which is a great show on Netflix. And for some reason, my brain was me like, is there someone behind me? Like, why would I need to call, like, security? What? Yeah. Oh my goodness. Anyway. Yeah, so I'm going to be streaming then. I actually don't know what I'm going to be streaming yet. The other thing, any sneak peek on some cyber events being hosted, I can't give you that because we don't actually have them yet. So from like the inside perspective, the coaches and streamers are the people who are talking about the streams, and we don't start scheduling the next month until after each month. So I don't have a sneak peek for you because it is still yet to be determined and created. But, Kat, I've talked about this before, but there's some new people here. If you want to see streams from MLH, and specifically if you'd
Maybe
like to
we'll
see
learn
streams,
about buffer overflows too.
but
Please.
if you'd like to see streams from me, not just during the weeks and throughout the month, you're going to get a form either end of today or tomorrow that is asking about like your feedback from Global Hack Week. And if you can include on that form that you would love to see streams throughout the month, not just during Global Hack Week, we can hopefully make that happen. It's a thing that I've been talking to people internal to MLH about, but having some like hacker feedback of hackers who would be interested in that, like that would really help. Because really my goal is to actually work on creating a game and kind of like walking through a longer process
be awesome.
rather than just having like a couple streams each month and only being able to work on it for maybe 6 to 8 hours. If we could stream once or twice a week, every week over the course of a couple months, we could really dig deep into a project and show like the whole process. So that's a goal that we're working towards. But if you can give feedback that you would want that, if you would want that, it would really help be able to make that happen. That is, I think, all of the things from my perspective. Again, I'm going to give you all space if you have questions. But those are the big things. I do want to thank all of y'all for showing up. This has been a wonderful Global Hack Week.
Good job.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed it. I think this has been one of the best so far, and the streams have been great. except for when there are bad actors, great vibes on stream. Just like a really good stream and a really good week. So
Good job.
thank you.
What is the difference between a game engine
Oh.
and framework? I have no idea.
Let me. Okay. So, really think about the difference between Squarespace and React. Squarespace provides you a whole bunch of tools to create a website, but it is more opinionated. React gives you a bunch of tools to create the tools to make a website. A game engine is like Unity, where I, as a game dev, just like walk in and start creating a game, and a framework gives you the tools to create your own game engine that can be custom to your game. Hopefully that made sense.
Now you're just getting meta. LOL.
I mean, I'm doing my best to answer a question about like the niche differences between two specific terms, so it is probably going to get a little meta.
You're rocking it. But what about stuff like Pygame that's sorta in the middle?
See, now you're getting into... I'm blanking on what this is called. There's a field of study. Ontology. Ontology. Let me double check. Oh my goodness, I can't type. Ontology is...
Also for my future current game engine, the tests use Shrek.
Oh my goodness, that's wonderful. Yeah, so ontology is the branch of metaphysics dealing with the nature of being, and in essence, it addresses questions like how entities are grouped into categories, and which of these entities exist on the most fundamental level. So the question of like, but what about Pygame that is kind of in between is a question of ontology, of like, what are the boundaries that we're setting, what are the groups, and like what actually exists within those groups. So that's a little bit higher level than I can get into here, because I don't know.
Code is philosophy and also art.
Oh my goodness, but don't start saying code is law. The whole code is law crypto bro thing is just such, garbage. Oh, thanks for dropping the link, Polar Void, to your game engine that you've been working on.
No.
If you're bored, X for Shrek mode. Oh my goodness, that's wonderful. Okay, again, check and link one last time. And with that, I think we're going to end the stream probably a little bit earlier. But yeah, thank you all so much for coming. This has been like a wonderful week. Thank you all for coming this entire week. Come back next month. Fill out that form if you want to see more streams. And happy hacking, y'all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. These only work with like a wonderful chat, and y'all have been absolutely incredible. I hope to see you next month. Bye, y'all. Happy hacking.
Link dimmer is to boss link.
Oh my goodness. I love
Bye.
that we are building inside jokes. It is truly wonderful. Mwah. Chef's kiss. Bye, y'all.